Welcome back to STL TV Live. I'm Janelle Higgins. Here with me in the studio now is Deborah Marshall, the Director of Warriors Alliance. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Can you just start by telling us a little bit about your organization?
Sure, I'll be happy to. We are a confederation of organizations and individuals who make it a point to try to get our veterans to get their stories out there into the community through writing, visual arts, that sort of thing.
Are you mainly working with veterans here in St. Louis, or are you working with veterans all over the country?
Well, we started out, we thought we were going to be working with veterans only in St. Louis, and we did through our workshops. About a year ago, the Missouri Humanities Council and the Warriors Arts Alliance joined together to host workshops out at the VA Medical Center at Jefferson Barracks, and we brought veterans together there for the purpose of writing creative nonfiction and poetry. From that, we decided to launch an anthology, and the call for submissions became a national contest and a call for submissions for the publication that we just released this past month.
So it's grown into something bigger than you probably even imagined, it sounds like.
That's very true. It's evolving as we speak, as a matter of fact, because Veterans Day this past month, we were going to release the book, and we did release the book, and it ended up going into its second printing on the evening of the 27th when we were having our launch here in St. Louis.
Wow, so it was a huge success then right out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever imagine that would happen?
No, I didn't, as a matter of fact. And you know, it was interesting. I referenced the launch on the 27th. We extended the invitation to some of the contributors who came from all over the country, and 10 of the contributors came for the reading here in St. Louis at, that was hosted by the St. Louis Poetry Center at Poetry at the Point. And they came from New York, they came from Boston, they came from San Diego, California, they came from all over, not only just in Missouri, and it was a wonderful success. So
they were excited to come back to St. Louis then and then take part in this?
They certainly were. They were anxious to tell their stories to the community. And that's what this whole thing is about, getting veterans to tell their stories and to help the community understand what's happening in our veterans' lives as they come back and transition into the community again after they've been deployed. We have writing that goes back to 1918. As a matter of fact. So it's very cross-generational. I mean, we go back to World War I, and we come back through poetry and creative nonfiction and fiction writing from our veterans from our current conflicts.
And what types of things are they writing about? Are they writing about their experiences overseas, or are they writing about just their experience once they got home? What types of things?
It can be anything. You know, we had one contributor who wrote a story about her mother who was a red-haired Rosie who worked for Boeing in Kansas while her husband was deployed. And we have poetry that was written about a female veteran who came back who had a suspicious husband waiting for her when she came back. And you know, it can be anything. Family relationships. Bunker Sonnet was written by Nicholas Watts Fernandez while he was serving overseas. As a matter of fact, he came back and came home the 19th of November and then came to our reading on the 27th. So it was a very emotional event. And it's a very emotional reading because it's very personal.
Yeah, oh my goodness, I'm sure. And I'm sure their stories are amazing to hear and to read about. And I'm excited to hear more about this. You're going to stick around with us for the next segment. But it is break time again, so we'll be back with more from Deborah when we return. Remember, STL TV is on all the major social networks, so you can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And even if you're out of town, you can watch all of our great local programs streaming live on stltv.net. We'll be back with more STL TV Live.